So here we have our design for this 0.6 acre residential property in the Seattle area. You can see it's a very long and skinny lot, very large backyard, kind of a small front yard, but just a small house and a couple of outbuildings in the back here, shed and tool shed. So first what we're going to look at is our sectors. This bottom border here is the southern border. The problem is there's a very large set of evergreen trees along this border on the neighbor's property, and so they're quite tall. They block out a lot of the sun. So as you see in the winter solstice, wintertime, there's very little sun entering the yard. Unless we can cut down those trees or top them, there's not much we can do about that. It'd be kind of a dormant. A lot of things will go dormant in the winter, but in the summertime, we do get quite a long day. Lots of sun. It does get quite hot here in the summertime in the backyard because of the lack of shade. So we're going to take advantage of that during the summer when it's there. There's a little bit of noise from dog next door. Not a huge problem. And this is where the storms come in from the southeast usually. Nothing really super strong here. Just, about 40 inches of rain here every year. Pretty good environment for growing food. So this is what we're going to start out with. This is the water flow and our not quite earthworks, but we're going to install all these brown areas you see here. That's what we're going to do is sheet mulching. And so the entire backyard is grass, and very rocky soil. Instead of digging up that soil, doing a bunch of earthworks, what we're going to do is just lay down cardboard to suppress the grass, some compost underneath that cardboard to help compost the grass itself, and then wood chips over that. And over time, as we keep adding to these wood chips piles, they will create barriers for the water, which will slow it down. Not a big slope in this backyard, so we're not going to have a whole lot of overland water flow to deal with, so don't need to put in a lot of swales or anything like that. The main feature of this water system is the pond here. So we're going to dig this pond out and use some of that dirt to fill in these two features here. This about on contour, a little bit off. So any water that comes off of the house area, all the roof lines, all the gutters from the house, they all drain out under this deck here. They'll come out through this Zone 1 garden area and drain out over this kind of grass sill, which is already here. If we can build up this feature here to capture all the water from the side of the house and bring it to this point, we can then direct it with a small, more of a berm than a swale because it'll be slightly off contour, direct all that water into the pond, as well as collecting water off of this big shed roof back here. Direct that right into the pond, and that should help keep the pond full. There is a water spigot right here, so we can put a float valve on the pond to make sure it always stays full, as well as a aeration circulation device to keep it clean. So as that fills up and overflows, we can use some of that dirt again to build this feature, which will direct that overflow water out and around away from the buildings towards the rest of the growing area. And again, everything back here, this is a patch of blueberries, or blackberries, sorry, that's been taken out and mowed over. They're still coming back, they just occasionally mow it. But what we can do is hopefully suppress those blueberries by, again, putting a layer of cardboard and compost over that to keep them from coming up through as a weed barrier. Lots of wood chips on top, and then some quick growing ground covers that will shade out any light if anything does make it through. That's our best bet as far as getting rid of Himalayan blackberries. Let me show you the plants layer now. This is the full design. Quite a lot to look at, but tried to pack in a lot of plants, a lot of trees. The client's main objectives here is to have a lot of perennial food, not a lot of maintenance, and that's what you get out of perennials. So he's going to have very small. He's got one small hugelkultur here. It's already built in a garden bed. Around the house here, some berries and vines, hardy kiwi. These are grapes here. That's about all the Zone 1 annual garden area he wants. And so the rest of this is just going to be a food forest type situation. There's a few existing trees right now, mainly this really large pine tree. We debated getting rid of that, but we're going to hold on to it. It is a good source of firewood in an emergency. It isn't blocking a whole lot of sun from the rest of the yard because it is along the northern border. There's some really nice sweet cherries in here. Prunus avium. These two right here. I'm going to let those keep growing. And again, all these circles represent trees at the full size. So as it's being installed, it won't be this crowded. But once it fills in, we're going to close that canopy over. We do have some nice dwarf apple trees here already existing, as well as some plum trees in the back here, Prunus domestica. There is a very old apple tree as well here by the shed, as well as a couple of pear and apples here by the Zone 1 area. In the front there is also another pear tree, a dwarf pear, or dwarf apple, excuse me, as long as just a regular grass area, along with some blueberries that have been planted up there, which are struggling to survive. So what we're going to do with the tree system here, start out with these back here. These are white alders, Alnus rhombifolia. We're going to grow these along this back border, make a bit of a screen. They're going to grow really quickly. They're nitrogen fixers, and you produce a lot of mulch. And so as they grow, and then let them grow a couple years, but then coppice them, cut them down, they'll grow right back. They're going to produce a lot of mulch that we can grow, that we can throw upon our beds and help build that soil up underneath our trees. And so basically we're going to plant in different varieties of fruit trees along with a lot of hazelnuts, so we have a perennial nut crop. And then underneath these trees, these fruit trees, nut trees, we're going to plant some support species, such as this, what is that? Sea berries, Hippophae raminoides, along with some cherry silverberries, gummy berries. Those are nitrogen fixing shrub as well. So we're going to place those underneath next to our new installed fruit trees, as well as our old fruit trees, and that's going to be part of the guild around these trees that will fix nitrogen, provide mulch that we can then throw underneath those trees to help create a nice environment, give them fertility, and help them grow. We're also going to fill in this understory with a lot of different types of berries. Berries do really well in this environment, so we're going to have gooseberries, black currants, blueberries, raspberries along the deck here. Speaking of the deck here, what we're going to do is install, it gets very hot and sunny on this back deck in the summertime. So what we're going to do is install this sort of a terrace pergola type thing. We've already got vines growing on this part of the deck here, kind of growing up a trellis there. Extend those over the deck with a nice strong pergola, and that gives us a nice shaded area in the summertime. This south side of the house also gets really hot, and so what we can do is extend those grapes along the south side of the house, let them grow up over that wall, and that'll provide shade on that wall during the summertime, kind of natural air conditioning. And we've also got hardy kiwis we just planted. Let those grow up and over the pergola there. Nice cool environment there. He's also got some self-watering annual garden planters on the back deck here. Spends a lot of time back there, so it's a good place to grow some food. One thing we do have to look at here for is the shade. We got this big line of evergreen trees along the south border, very shady. And so in here we've got some pawpaw trees. These are some of the only plants I could find for this zone, this area, that will grow in the shade and produce in the shade. Pawpaws are also very delicious, so I'm going to put some of those in, along with some beaked hazelnuts. It's a variety of native hazelnut here that is much more shade tolerant than the American hazelnut or the European filbert. So we're going to try to grow some of those in there as well. There's also this Chinese holly grape. It's an interesting plant, China. Grows kind of a big flower-looking leaf set with these kind of grape spears that come out full of berries. So get your hands on some of those and see how that goes. They're also, shade tolerant, so it's kind of limited in what you can grow in the shade here, which is why this side of the yard has mostly been, taken up by the sheds and the pond feature. Keep it out of the sun. Hopefully keep the algae down as well. We've also got a chicken tractor and a duck tractor. The client is interested in bringing in some livestock systems. Ducks and chickens would be the easiest to start with. He's got a small riding lawnmower, which can pull a little trailer. So if we can put these little chicken tractor and duck tractors on a trailer, you can pull them around the yard pretty easily. Set up temporary fencing, say like across this area, fence them into this area, let the ducks eat the slugs, let the chickens scratch up, eat bugs, and kind of rotate them around so that they're not always sitting in one spot. If he does have to leave for the weekend or a week, there is a nice fenced in area pre-existing behind the sheds. You can easily let the chickens and the ducks run into that, cover it up, keep them safe from predators at night. That way they don't always have to hang out in their little small chicken tractors. We've also got, the only access really to the backyard is through this gate in the neighbor's driveway. There are small gates on the side, but not big enough for a truck to go through. And so I've made sure that we leave an access lane in between our elements, so that if a truck does need to get back here to the shed, does need to come back and deliver some wood chips for building these beds, we can still get that through. As well as all the paths here, I've all made them wide enough so that you can maintain them with the riding lawnmower. Hopefully the grass is kind of there just to hold space. The owner is not really interested in having a lawn, but it is covering the soil right now, and we can seed it with some nitrogen fixing ground covers, some insectary plants, things like yarrow, that can just kind of let it grow wild for a little while, and then mow it down when we need to, and use that mulch to, again, mulch all the tree growing systems. So that's just a little example of this suburban, quite large lot for suburbia permaculture design. How we can get a lot of trees packed into a small area and produce a lot of food. And in 5 to 10 years, this all gets implemented. We'll be producing quite a bit of food. A nice resilient system well into the future. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please do subscribe and feel free to share them around social media. These videos are made possible by the generous donations of my supporters. So if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so via PayPal or Bitcoin. If you'd like to offer ongoing support, please do consider becoming a patron through my page at patreon.com/JessGrimes. I've got a lot planned for this year, and lots more videos in the works, which I hope will inspire others to take the leap into their own adventures in homesteading and permaculture. So once again, thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me in building a better world through permaculture.